This will be one of the most important update in 2022 and for the rest of this market cycle. You can ask why, that's for sure. You can ask, this is just the tip of an iceberg. You're going to see a ton of information which we are going to detail in this one. This report, which came last week, is an in-depth study of the crypto market in its whole, the entire crypto market, by an institution which just dropped $4.5 billion, and the entire investments for them is now $7.6 billion. Understand, the total is like 28 billion assets under management, and 7.6 out of that is in the Web 3.0. Now that for you, me, and everyone is important. To make this easy for the normal investor, they have shown the 5 takeaways, 5 key takeaways. So as you look through this one, you definitely understand like, okay, that's a ton of information. Yeah, and definitely, yes, they still think it is too early in this space. Now, this is an institution which has been in the markets for some time, and they do understand investing. And when they say it is still early days for this technology, they have their own reasoning. And if you are a logical guy thinking, properly with your cognitive ability, you are like, fine, okay, I do understand their perspective. And for anyone who is serious about this asset class and investing, you have an entire detailed report here, which is like 54 pages long with a ton of information. Now, these, along with your investments, will actually push you to learn more. And as you see these, wow, that's actually a wow factor moment when you go through this report. Now, we are going to break this down and see what is going to help you to understand how you are going to build your wealth in this Web 3.0 revolution. Because that is the industrial revolution, another one coming here with this technology. So if you can use it for your family and for the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years to come, right? The generations coming ahead will actually appreciate for the efforts you have taken to learn and prepare and position yourself. So when these institutions are entering, it's not just one institution entering into this with such a huge amount. You can literally see why the entire space is changing. Big guys are all entering into this level, and now they are giving you that understanding. This has utility. So it's about the service which it can provide. And one by one, the doors are being opened for this particular space. You can clearly see like, okay, there was an idea to push this one down, tax them to death. But now, no, it's not going to happen right now. And when you actually see these are like, okay, the market never go back to the fair value. It usually go back up, hit the fair value, but don't stop there. It just go higher, become overvalued before it actually starts popping to the downside. So that is another stuff. So we are going to break all of this in this particular video and then go on to the technicals, because that's also important. If you are looking at the short term, if you are not critically looking at the short term, you don't care about the noise, then you only have to look at the macro perspectives. We are going to break that down here, so stay with me till the end. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. In one of our last crypto TA sessions, we have actually tried to show you the candlestick patterns, right? How this actually plays out, because some of them do give you that idea whether it's reversing or not. Because now when you go into the market, you can literally see some of them doing that. Now, we've been following those, right? We've been giving you that hints like, okay, this is going to break out. This is near to a breakout. This is breaking out and all those stuff, right? We do post regularly. And then you come into the market and see like, okay, these coins are actually doing fine. They are bouncing. They are breaking out from different patterns. These are your measured moves. That gives you the ability to understand, okay, where we are going. So Bitcoin being inside this trading range, you're like, okay, fine, let's first break 30K and close above and continue. Get a continuation pattern, because this is 4-hour chart. So if you get that on a daily, a close above this and continuation, that's the huge stuff there. Now, let's actually go back into this one to see like what really is happening there. A company of this size moving in this heavy into crypto kind of gives you some easy information. So when these guys are entering, that definitely means they are listening to their customers. So if their customers want to enter this space and invest in these upcoming technology because they believe that this is so early. Wow. Now you got BlackRock, you got Vanguard, and all other big institutions who are also entering into the same space. Now this kind of just give you one easy idea why they actually think, okay, this is still early. Now, from the key takeaways here, we're going to look at some of that area. Okay, we've talked about most of this before in my words, my thought process. But this, their vision, where they have put, a ton of research and development. Now, they'll have a massive team and finance to put on that research and development. And they came with the similar conclusion. Price, interest, new ideas, startups, and projects. So, they are looking at this particular cycle. Fine. Inside that cycle, now, I've gone through this in my words, right? Developer activity, startup activity, social media activity. So say for XRP, if you are looking at the developer activity recently, it's picking up. Startup activities, a lot of new projects are coming on, building on top of that network. That is increasing. So the entire crypto market is actually going parabolic to the upside, and for next 3, 5, 10 years to come, they see that this is going to go much higher, and that's why they are here in this space. Now, look at what is happening in this particular space. Say YouTube, it's 45%, whereas Facebook, Twitter, Insta, these are like, massive. So what you see today is just a tiny portion of the world entering this level, and that's going to go much higher. So when you look at these, it's just like, okay, the NFT space is like this. If you look at the users for Facebook, YouTube, and others, you have a lot of people who are involved in the internet, who will be soon monetizing used by this technology. So when they enter the space, you get more inflow. Then they market this technology. Automatically, you get the second wave, third wave of people coming in, and then the latecomers. Fine. All these latecomers are going to come. So what's going to happen? You are looking at these banks and then looking at the DeFi space. This is a huge wealth transfer which they are showing in just one chart. It's self-explanatory so that you can understand this. These are all the big banks, I was saying big gangsters, but it's kind of the same, right? You get the point. So now when the money is being moved here, why is that happening? Now they're kind of giving you a different idea from their perspective. Now you can go look at say crypto is already making a real world impact. So we know XRP is making real world impact, at least for us it is. When we do the remittance back to India, we can actually feel that, right? Now if you look at this one, the telecom industry is currently controlled by the monopolies. Helium is building towards the future, blah, 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 blah. You also have the projects like Dent, which is breaking out right now. It's starting to bounce back up. So these are some of the basic stuff to look at for the fundamentals. And then you come here looking at the developer activities. Okay, Ethereum had that free pass from the SEC, blah, blah, and it actually started taking off. Right now, if you look at all these on the side, Ether, VAX, Bitcoin, Binance Smart Chain, Cardano, Celo, others, all are there, right? So the attention is coming for Solana. It's actually increasing. Fine. So the wave of incoming flow of newcomers building on that project is there. Then you are looking at the demand. And now it's like, okay, Ether, BNB chain, and then a VAX. That means BNB has a long way to go because they are going to absorb a ton of market space from Ether. they don't, no one wants to pay a ton of fee. No one wants to wait too long and pay a ton of fee. No one really want to be on a proof of work when you're actually doing these kind of transactions. So you better go to BNB or Wax, any other new platforms which take a minimum in time and cost. Now, the next one which they are showing you is the total value locked in Ethereum layer 2. Now, layer 2s are like, the scaling solutions, because Ethereum is not scalable. They need scaling solution, all those stuff. Now you are like, okay, that just means we have a long way to go, because what we are comparing with now is like a testnet, which is Ether. That itself compared to internet is tiny. But when that is compared to the existing space, you see that that's a huge difference. So when the actual market space, the targeted audience is too big and Ethereum is not even close to what you can take in, and compared to Ether, all of these are small, that's why they still say this is too early. If you are in the space for next 3, 5, 10 years, you understand this. They actually show you that the future is going to be something like this. Because these are big guys entering into this space, believing that this is going to happen. Okay, now in this particular report, all these stuffs, it's something similar to the 5 key takeaways. So we are actually going more ahead so that we can learn more. So here you can actually see about the total layer of security, how these are being worked, all these scaling solutions. Say it was like, say for example, OMG, then changed to Boba Network. So you have all of these trying to reduce the transaction fee because it's too high. Now you look at the DeFi space, it's actually too big, right? When you look at the bank accounts, it's 1.7 billion people who do not actually have an access to that system. And this particular technology is coming out with saying if you have a mobile phone and an internet connection, you can actually do this. And if you are looking at this, mobile plus internet of the unbanked is 1 billion have access to mobile. So this is that possibility which people are using in African countries, India and others, where even if you don't have a bank account, you can still do electronic finance, you can enter the economy, right? Now, this space have grown like this in last 2 years. So if you anticipate for next 3-5 years, you do understand. Because as you see, the market share is being taken out from Ether. As the new chains enter the space, they get adoption, they get more money coming in. Whatever is there in Ether is being reduced. And now, the entire world is looking at this particular space based on what we just saw in the World Economic Forum Davos right now. And the money, big money, is actually slowly pouring in. As it pours in, you need to look at the use cases today. If you try to do most of these basic stuff using your bank, it's nearly impossible. And it's so irritating. I just listened to, if you remember the Kevin O'Leary was giving a talk where he was like, they just sent millions into another country using this SWIFT system. Or shit system, right? And then the money is gone. So they are like, okay, where's my money? They're trying to track it, and kind of it's time to close that fixed rate which they got. When you are sending money, they will be like, okay, this is going to be your rate no matter what for next 36 hours, and that's going to close. And then Swift comes back saying, okay, we found your money. That's literally like when you are sending millions, first you're paying a ton of fee. Second, these kind of stuff happen after 36 hours. They are coming back to you, okay, we found your payment. That is one of the biggest reason all these big guys are going to come into this space. Because they don't want to take that level of tension. Imagine you're sending $10,000 and that's missing. How angry will you be and stressful it will be? So these big guys, when they're sending millions, it's something similar. So as common man here, we do understand, okay, this is going to take a ton of new money from all these big institutions. Because right now what you just saw is one institution which has below 30 billion moving around 7.6 billion to this asset class. So all these big institutions, they are coming aboard. Now when I'm saying that, I'm saying this with a lot of different stuff and all the information we've gone through in last 5 years. Whatever we talked in this channel for last 2.5 years, if you're here from the beginning, you know what we went through. We went through a ton of reports, government reports, IMF, United Nations, World Bank, and all of that. And right now, we are going to that direction. If you look at a year back, we were talking about the level of inflation which is coming. And right now, a lot of people were not prepared and they are getting hit hard by that. So now understand this. This is just a beginning. Total value is this, and you're going to have all of this added and then consider 10% at least of that moving here. Now, the way this particular institution is moving in, Anderson Horowitz is moving in, that's aggressive. So if others are going to follow the same aspect, we are going to see 20-25% in crypto. That does mean the market is going to be monstrous, because stable coins, you can actually see like fiat backed, crypto backed, algorithmic, and some of the algorithmic just failed. The peg was dropping, there's a lot of different issues. Right now, the use of these stable coins are increasing, which now for them, it's like, okay, it demonstrates the need for a digital dollar, digital euro, that kind of stuff. But when that comes out, now you need interoperable bridge asset, right? So you just saw here, like for Ether, which was not scalable, it really needed a lot of bridges. And a lot of companies are trying to solve that particular problem so that they can make money. Fine. So now we look at the space, and this is like, okay, there is a ton of new stuff happening. Gaming, XRP, Ledger is also open to that one. You're getting a lot of exposure in that side. Now we go to the video industry, and all of these you do understand is like, okay, big guys, they're entering here. XRP Ledger, they're using it. It's not only XRP Ledger, it's a lot of these asset classes, like, locally. You can have a look at Cardano. You can have a look at Avalanche. All of these are getting the adoption. So if you are in these protocols so early and the market is so volatile and you're getting pissed, I know, I've been there and I'm still getting pissed. But the difference is, when you look at your investments, you take that emotion out, then you look at these fundamentals and make the decision, because the decisions should never be made based on those emotions. Right now we are looking at this DAOs, the space is like this, and it's gonna blow off. So it's clearly Uniswap. You have a lot of these, right? And all of them, with the level of volume increasing, are gonna be getting popular. That means they're gonna get more investments. They're gonna go through a lot of stuff. Now, when you see all of this, as they kind of highlighted initially, this is still early days, and that's why with these fundamentals, we kind of say like, be prepared. One of the Now, shout out to the Modern Society for putting this one out. There's like one side you're showing all the crypto companies. You can see Kraken, Gemini, Grayscale, all of those. And the other side, it's the Standard Chartered, Citibank, the big guys of the existing financial world. And then you're looking at, okay, HSBC is there, Citi is there, Standard Chartered is there, BNP is there. Then you're like, okay, all of these guys are invested in Ripple. Most of the big guys. BPA. Now, if you go to the reports of Citi, BBVA, and other Standard Chartered, you will see the name Ripple. You will see the name XRP, and go look at that. Say, especially HSBC reports, how they are naming it XRP and XLM. That's actually huge, because if that kind of class of investments are going to move into this way, you better believe it, or until you see the price and the value getting matched. If you are not believing it, you most likely will miss out, because in between, you're going to get emotional and move out when all of these factors which is happening in front of you is kind of reinforcing the first original idea why you entered this space. But again, the time management and the emotion is going to be hard. But once you master that skill, you are literally looking at all this and taking a step back to ask that question. Okay, right now, this is the news for the masses. What's the narrative there? And what's happening? If they are saying, okay, this is going to go down, and the institution is investing heavily into that, it's like, okay, they are saying something, but they're doing something else. So you follow what they are doing, because that is important. When they say this, and they are investing in the space heavily, and it's not only them, a lot of others are following. Look at the macro perspective. Now, we will actually look at the dollar, the stock market as well before we close down, because I want to take this too long, but this is already going long. Now, we talked about this price range, right? So inside BTC price fluctuation on a daily, this is what you're seeing. So if we get rejected with the moving average here at 30K, we are going to go lower to test this previous low. There is no doubt for this. But if we are able to break above this moving average, that's a 21-day moving average used on a daily chart. So if you manage to break that one above, that's actually a bullish story because you can still go higher to $35,000. So that's the story in Bitcoin. Now we are looking at XRP, similar. We are going to test this moving average at 0.45 and it's rejecting, meaning a lot of sellers come in. That's a bad news. You're going to come back lower to test 0.35. Now, the positive stuff which you can observe here is a MACD cross in an altcoin market cap shows, okay, there is a possibility you may actually continue higher, but you will get resisted here and you may go back to test the bottom again to make a double bottom. Now, no one knows. This is a speculation from my end, thinking, okay, this may happen. But right now, the charts, say on a weekly, it actually shows you like we are close to the bottom. We are so low, right? In the entire altcoin space, when you are looking at this and saying, okay, the RSI has most likely never been this range for this long time in a bear market, you are like, okay, that corrective trend, the bearishness, it's here. We are somewhere close to this. Like it's somewhat similar to the base of this bear market ending. Now, you can decide whether you're going to move out from this market at this point or you're going to wait a bit more to reap the benefit of waiting this long. Guys, if you are receiving value, please do hit that like button. Now, we're not stopping there. We are coming back to the dollar. We are going to look at the S&P 500. We are going to look at the market. And in short, for a minute or two, we're going to end this. So what does the S&P 500 as an index show you right now? You just connect all these supports and you're like, okay, we are close to the support and we are getting supported. Some of them are buying. Okay, that's S&P. But here in the NASDAQ, you can actually see we broke below. We are trying to retest that. We don't know whether we're going to get back or we are going to retest and get rejected to the downside, right? Then you're going to look at the Dow Jones and it's something similar to that of the S&P 500 story. It's at the support, it's bouncing, and when it is bouncing in this pattern, it can come back up to retest this level. Fine. Now, what's the dollar doing? People are saying dollar is going down, dollar is going down, dollar is going down. But take a step back, guys, come down. And look at this. This level has been resistance for some time. Now, when I say some time, look at this. This is all the way from 2015. So 7 years of resistance has been broken and you are above that. So if you are coming back, most likely it's going to be a retest. And if that happens to be a retest, that means you're going to go much higher. Why? Because your trading range was like this. You now have a long way to go to the upside. So if you are taking another step back, going on to a monthly chart, now you get the perspective. Okay, we were at these levels. If you are breaking from here, you still have room to go to this particular range. Now that's going to be painful for a lot of different assets, right? But for some of these, as I've highlighted before, if you remember, you're on a monthly chart on Netflix on a log scale, you actually see, okay, we've talked about this being most likely at the bottom and the support, and you now right now observe that, okay, the price is getting slowly supported, price is getting buyers, people are coming in, and most likely it's going to bounce. Now that's my thought process, right? Then you come on to look at Tesla. It's again, it dropped 50%, but it's still being supported in this trend line. Then you go to look at Apple. That actually broke lower in a bearish pattern like this, and you're continuing to the downside. So there can be a retest to the upside, but most likely you're going to drop way lower. That's the stock market crashing. Now this can have emotional impact on the crypto market as well in the short term. But if you are prepared well enough, you don't actually care about these noises because you see the long-term big picture. So guys, again, if you forgot to hit that like button, please do hit that. And if you want these kind of updates for different assets, which we are dropping on a regular basis when the market is popping, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.